Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I'm thrilled to chat with Marianna Burelli. Marianna will make her US debut this year in Disney Channel's highly anticipated original series, Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion. The comedy series follows Violet, played by Scarlett Estevez, an everyday Mexican American teen who's chosen by a magical luchador mask and transforms into Ultraviolet, a superhero fighting crime. Marianna shines on the show as Nina, Violet's mother, who's in the dark about her superhero powers, and principal of Violet's middle school. Mariana's character masterfully juggles both responsibilities, and she is wonderful in the role. Mariana is originally from Venezuela. We discuss how she left school and home at 16 to attend the United World College, and then went on to East 15 Acting School in London. Mariana may be best known in Latin America for her dramatic portrayal of Natalia Velasco for 3 seasons in the hit series Paramedicos. It's a really fun interview, and I hope you enjoy. You can go check out Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion on Disney Channel and Disney Plus right now.
Hi, Liz. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
Of course, my pleasure.
So most of my listeners probably know you as Natalia Velasco over on Paramedicos. But of course, Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion, which started on June 3rd over on Disney Channel and Disney Plus, is so fun and just adorable. It's got such an energy to it and just a really fun feeling on set, I would think. It looks like you're all having a blast.
Yeah.
But
Why do you say that?
what I'm always curious when folks, especially in a creative pursuit, turn towards their passion. And it can often, I feel like, seem almost like a silly dream when we're kids that we want to write or act or be rock stars or something. And there's, I find, a moment where you have to decide to push through that and no, this is what I'm going to do. For you, that came with a trip halfway around the world, and that just really caught my eye when I was looking back through your story. When you were 16 and you got a scholarship to move from Venezuela just halfway across the planet, was that a galvanizing moment where you felt like I'm turning towards acting, or did it change your relationship to, well, I think I might take an acting class after school versus, well, are you willing to move?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I moved to what used to be called Swaziland and now it's called Eswatini, this little country right next to South Africa, I went there because I won a scholarship to study international baccalaureate, right? Mm-hmm. And I had to choose 6 subjects, and I knew I've always wanted to do humanity, sort of like that sort of like side of society. So I was thinking maybe journalism or sociology or history. That was kind of the things that always caught my attention. I was really into them. I was really good at them. And so I had to choose 6 subjects, 3 of which had to be in high level. So they're very demanding, and it's a very academic program, United World College. And everybody who's there is because of a scholarship. So, like you are united with like really smart humans, very smart, smarter than I've ever seen before in my life. And so a high level subject was very demanding, and I had chosen history and I had chosen Spanish and English. But I had to pick one more, and I only had 2 options. I either could take something like math or physics or chemistry, which I thank God I didn't. And then the other options were art or theater. So I was okay. Look, the theater arts department here in the school seems to be pretty good. Everybody really loved it. So I was like, I'm going to try it. It's probably going to help me when I become a journalist or when I, in life, in the future, I'm sure they're going to offer me some tools. And so I started that more of a, I don't have other option type of thing than actually because I wanted to pursue that as a career. And then it changed me. It really did. And soon enough, like after the first year, I knew that I wanted to take that further, and I wanted to explore that vein a little more. And once I finished my second year, my teacher, who was English actually, said to me, "Hey, Marianna, if you want to, like if this is something that moves you, I think you should pursue it, because you move other people when you do it. So I think you should go further. I mean, take it and apply. There are so many schools in London. I recommend this and this and this." And she gave me a list of 3 or 4. And she said, "I think you should go for it. I mean, if you feel like it." And I thought about it, and I had already, then I took a year off where I traveled with my best friend who was from France. And we just traveled from Egypt all the way down to Cape Town on the east coast of Africa for 6 months. And during that time, I kept thinking, and at the same time, I was applying to schools in London, to universities in London, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try. So I spent all of the summer, and then until the end of the year, I finished it in Cape Town. And then in February, I went to London and I applied. I went to this audition. They accepted me to audition there, and I went to E15 Acting School. And the same day of my audition, they said, "Yeah, we want to offer you a place." And I was like, what? I almost did it because I didn't want to die knowing that I should have done it, or I could have done it, and I never tried it. And when they said, "We want to offer you a place, think about it," and I was shocked, because throughout the day, I found out that there were people that had been auditioning for 2 years in a row, or 3 years, and it was really tough to get in. So for me, it was like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to do this. And I called my mom, and by this point, I had already a place. I had already kind of like secured a place in another university in London to study journalism. And I said, "Mom, I think I'm going to be an actor. I'm not going to be a journalist, or maybe not now." And that was that. That's how. So by the time I actually made the choice, I fell in love with theater when I was 16. And then when I was 19, I made the choice, and I said, okay, this is what I want to do in my life. So it all came sort of entangled with travel, but yeah.
Was there a certain play or a certain role that you remember really thinking, "Oh, this feels wonderful. This is all I want to do"?
Yeah, I did. Well, there were several, but there was we did Yerma by Lorca, and I did Maria, Yerma's friend, and I was like, wow, this is wonderful, because the story sort of like spoke about such universal themes, although it was very local. Also, we did Oedipus Rex. We also did Medea. We did so many like Greek, very classic stuff. And at the same time, at some points, I got the opportunity to direct a play, which was called The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. So that was super powerful. So I was able to really get creative with it. Part of the course, we had to direct a piece, and that was fascinating. And I love the freedom, how it can be liberating, and how there are no limits, because the main creator is the imagination. So you can basically do. I mean, so my home is theater. That's what I love the most, and that's where I started. So yeah.
I wonder sometimes if folks at home understand just how strange the shooting pace and schedule can be for television and movies versus a live theater play, where you sit down in your seats and the house lights drop and the play begins and you run straight through it until the end. Versus television or movies where you might shoot a piece of a scene today and then 2 days later the back half of that scene. Was that an odd adjustment? Was that something that East 15 helped prepare you for, or did you kind of jump both feet into that strangeness?
No. Well, you've been kind of mentioned that, like in a day or two, like television and film is kind of like this. They really went by it fairly quickly. But I've been working in Mexico for the past 10 years, and I did just do some films in London, especially short films. So let's say that thank God I landed like to this set with a pretty broad, box of tools. Yeah.
One thing that I've heard from folks before sometimes that shooting pace and set culture can be a little bit different from country to country. Have you found that moving between Mexico City and LA? Is set just set but in a different language, or do you find that there's a bit of an industry culture difference?
Yeah, definitely there is an industry cultural difference. I feel that in my experience here in Ultraviolet, the set is a lot quicker, I would say. I love the fact that there's a person for everything on sets here. In Mexico, it's like me as an actor, I would be like, hey, I'm going to move the chair. Do you guys? No, yeah, move it, Marianna. It's a little bit like DIY kind of thing. I mean, not because of anything, but just because you want to kind of move fast, and sometimes the person who, I don't know, is in charge of, set is outside. I don't know for what reason, but the fact is that here, when I started moving things around, they're like, no, don't touch that, Marianna. Julia, can you come? Type thing. So that is definitely something that is remarkably different. There is much more formality. I mean, it's a huge machinery. This industry is humongous, and it makes so much money. So I do understand that it's the way it is. But apart from that, I've heard that some sets are very hostile in terms of, the relationship between the actors, and well, that was not the case for me. We had the best set, the best energy, the best chemistry. Honestly, I've experienced such a warm set, which I've heard is not normal. It's not it's not the norm. So I count myself very lucky for that. And but yeah.
One thing that I saw in your bio that caught my eye, and I've also seen on your Instagram, is that you co-created a cosmetics line. I'm sure as talent in films and television, you have had any number of things put on by the makeup department of here, we got to get you looking right in the next 5 minutes, go.
Yeah.
What was the concern or the problem that you just couldn't let go of that led you to move in this direction and help create, pardon me if I'm saying the name wrong, Amai?
No, that's perfect. Amai. Well, it was the amount of plastic we produce, the amount of plastic disposable, one single use plastic. I mean, because plastic is a wonderful material and it can be incredibly useful. I mean, in the whole medical, field and in so many others, it can be massively helpful. What I wanted to sort of like change, or what I wanted to approach with Amai, was the fact that every time we buy a shampoo bottle, we use the shampoo and we throw the bottle away. That sort of culture of disposal, like everything is disposable, everything, let's, it feels like the worse it is for the environment, the cheaper it is. So we go for that one. And if it gets cheaper, I always say somebody else is paying for it. Like, it's not cheaper just because it's cheaper. So it's cheaper because the oceans are paying for it, or people working overtime and being mistreated at work are paying for it. There's always, so whenever I see something so cheap in terms of cosmetic and in general, I wonder who is paying for it, right? You're not paying as the costumer, but somebody else is.
Yes.
Or nature is, for sure. There is no way they're just being nice and asking you for less money just for no reason. And that is something that I learned. So I wanted to create a line that had the same sort of quality that some of the lines that we can find out there, but that once you finish the product, you don't throw anything away. You have Our products are all solid bars in the shape of a triangle. You probably have seen it. And they're wrapped in rice paper that is edible. I mean, I don't recommend you eat that, but if you do, you're not going to die because it's made out of rice. And even the ink that we use to print, the name on it, it's made out of, it's vegetable rice. It's vegetable ink, sorry. So it's made out of minerals and vegetables and, things that you can eat. And finally, most importantly, the decompose in the compost. So that was my biggest dream. I wanted to create a line of shampoo and conditioner, and that now has grown. And now you can find creams, you can find body butters, you can find makeup remover, you can find facial soap, facial creams, all in the shape, solid and plastic free. We don't use, palm oil. We don't use anything that is refined. All our butters are unrefined, and all the smells that you can get in our products come from natural essence, oils and flowers and etc. We don't do any artificial synthetic smells. So I wanted to create something that was good for you, but also it didn't leave such a toll in the environment.
Yeah. Like you said, that where the planet's not actually picking up the slack on paying for this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
I think folks are going to really enjoy, or hopefully are really enjoying, Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion. It, to me, harkens back to Disney Channel shows I watched as a kid. And it has such a fun energy. I watched it right alongside Miss Marvel, and it just felt of a wonderful piece watching kids find these powers. I was particularly struck by the posters in your office as the principal. Winning isn't everything is an absolutely brutal poster. And I had to laugh. I would imagine that it's got to be fun to, when I see actors get to play, terrible villains, and I always think, well, that's probably a real hoot to get to do. But it's got to also be fun to play just a mom of a wonderful kid. Can you talk a little bit about getting the role on Ultraviolet and getting into the series?
Sure. Yeah, it's fun to play. You know what? Just picking up on what you said, it's fun to play a woman that thinks that has everything under control when she has very little under control. That juxtaposition and that thing that she wants to be progressive, and she wants her kids to know that she loves them no matter what, and that she doesn't, academics isn't all for her. Academics is all for her in a way, so trying to play that, double thing, like so many of us, sometimes we want to come across as something, but we really deeply feel one way more than the other, right? And try to, having two children, one of them being, the perfect child, and the other one being, perfect child, and I don't mean perfect child, but what society would say a perfect child.
Yeah, he's winning the trophies. He's getting it all done.
Yeah, he's getting, and every teacher loves him. He's troubleless. He does as he's required, and there's never a but for him. Mm-hmm. And then you have Violet, that is totally the opposite. She can find herself. She doesn't know what she likes. She's not very good at anything yet that she thinks, or she's sort of dispersed. And to be able to have those two kids, I think is brilliant because I think no matter how many kids a family has, they're all going to come out different. Mm-hmm. And that's a reality. That's the way it is. So yeah, the process of getting the part is long, I cast for this in 2019, pre-COVID, pre-COVID times. And then they were first looking for Violet and the mom. They wanted that to work. And they didn't have anything else. They were looking for the mom. And so Violet and I were cast at the same time. And it was honestly the first time I went for my audition, very first time I was in touch with the script. I was like, this is totally miscast. I've never been a mom before on any show or any character I've played. And suddenly I'm a mom of a 13-year-old. I was like, what? This is weird. And then I didn't really understand what it was about. And as the process has sort of moved forward, I became more, I more knowledgeable about what was going on in the story, and then realized the level of comedy they wanted, and this broad comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I started liking it much more. And then by the end of 2019, sort of Violet and I were cast right before the pandemic, and we were going to shoot a pilot in March 2020. And then I remember going to a fitting and everything, and then after the fitting, I got a phone call from producers saying, "Hey, we're going to stop because of this pandemic, global pandemic, whatever." Little did we know that we had to wait all the way until 2021 and 2021. Yeah, that's right. So by the time we managed to get to set, we already felt very acquainted with each other, with Juan, the guy who plays my husband, and Violet and Tiago. Like, we already knew each other, knew of each other, had already spoken, had rehearsed. So it was, I think the last one to kind of join the family was Black Scorpion, JR,
Mm-hmm.
Who was like a perfect fit. He just fit right in. It was beautiful. But yeah, so the process was, at first, I really didn't understand, to be honest. It wasn't, some auditions, you read them and you're like, oh, I really want to book this. This is perfect for me. I see myself on set. And it was not the case for me for Ultraviolet. I was like, oh no, this is totally crazy. And when they were like, oh, they want to see you for a callback, I was like, what? Do they? Are they sure? And then producer session, I was like, what am I doing here? And I also had a 6-month-old baby at that time, and my baby's already 14. No, I'm joking, but it's been so long. But I had a 6-month-old baby, and I was auditioning and going to producer session and test and chemistry reads and all sorts of things.
Well, I think the chemistry between you and Scarlett, Violet, on the show is really great. I really think I'm always looking for that. Whenever they've got siblings on a show or parent and child, there's a part of me that's always watching for, do I believe that these folks not necessarily like each other? Not all kids and parents or siblings do, but do you have that energy where I believe you're family? And I feel like it comes through on the show. I really hope folks go check it out. It's quite fun. People can see it on Disney Plus right now, Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion. I really appreciate you chatting with me about it today.
Thank you so much.
TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.